Hey guys, Cameron here. I've got a question for you. Do you know who this woman is? Have you heard of the pop star Vitamin C? Does the name Colleen Fitzpatrick ring a bell? Now I want you to do something, and I know it's super early in the video, but I want you to pause this. I want you to head down to the comments, and I want you to half write a comment. I want you to half write whether or not you know who she is. Now in about 20 to 30 seconds, I want you to complete that comment, punch it in for me. That'll be great, because I have a theory. I reckon if I took 50 people of different ages and different nationalities, and I asked all 50 whether or not they know who that woman is, I reckon about 5 of them may know who she is, and the other 45 would be like, I don't have a scuba. Whereas, if I ask those same people whether they've heard the song that she's most popular for, I reckon most of them, the majority, would not only know the song, but they would be able to recite some of the lyrics from the song, which is what I want you to do to prove whether or not I'm right on this. Because she wrote the song Graduation, Friends Forever. Now, as this is YouTube and there's such thing as copyright, I don't think I can play any more. I think I can get away with playing 5 seconds of the song without it getting taken down. I might even be able to push it to 10 because it's an older song now. So we'll see how much I can get. Luckily, you only need about 5 seconds of the song to know whether or not you know it. But I guarantee after watching this video, you're going to go listen to the song anyway. Hey, feel free to pause it and go listen to it. It's Graduation, Friends Forever. Here's a little 5 seconds. Let me know in the comments, do you know the woman? Do you know the song? Because this song is one of the ultimate one-hit wonders. But what I find fascinating and what's been racking my brain... Let me start at the beginning. I heard this song about a week ago and I was like, oh, I remember that. Who wrote it? I never knew who sung that song. So I did a little bit of Googling and I found the story of the woman who wrote it, the story of Vitamin C. And it's stuck with me ever since. And I really want you to see out the end of this video because I think throughout her story, there's a moral there. There's a bit of inspiration and a bit of motivation that you can really take from her story. So to start way back at the beginning, that right there, that is Colleen Fitzpatrick, also known as Vitamin C. But we're starting in her early life. At this point, she just goes as Colleen. She is from New Jersey, and when she was growing up, she was really into dancing and musical theatre. Now, 1998, when I believe she was fresh out of school, she got the opportunity, she got a big break in the movie industry with her on-screen debut under her real name, Colleen Fitzpatrick, in the John Waters feature film Hairspray. So a lot of us know Hairspray because it's a musical genius and it's been remade before with Zac Efron and Amanda Burns, and that was brilliant, wasn't it? But this was the first Hairspray. Colleen Fitzpatrick was in there. It was her big break. But after this, nothing came of it. I think at this point she probably thought she was going to go on to be some big Hollywood star, but nothing really happened for her. She didn't really get any more roles at all. But she did have a talent for music and songwriting, so she decided to join a band. She joined an alternative rock band called Eve's Plum. This was in 1991. This was her first musical outing. Very different than the pop stuff that we know her for. Very different from Graduation. This is the kind of music that she made. This is Eve's Plum. And they had a semi-successful run. They had a record deal and released 2 albums. So they were quite successful. After the second album, no momentum took off. The label ended up dropping them. But they were still determined. They released a few more songs on their own as independent artists, but nothing really took off and it reached a dead end. Once again, she's had a taste of success, a taste of being paid for what she wants to do, music, and then it's dropped off. A lot of people give up then and there, but Colleen, she really wanted to make an impact. She wanted to get her music out there. So she decided to do this new project, this where she would start a solo career as a pop star, hence taking on the name of Vitamin C. So in 1998, as a solo pop star under the name Vitamin C, she signed an album deal with Elektra Records. Her debut solo album peaked on the Billboard 200 at number 29, which is pretty good. It got certified platinum. So a taste of success once again. She is gone from the heights to the lows to coming way back up again. But it was one song on that album that really made an impact, and it is that song, Graduation. Now, here's the funny thing about Graduation. It was massively successful, but it was by no means a global number one hit. But even though it wasn't a global hit, it was getting global recognition. In Australia, the song peaked at number 2 on their charts, and it was certified platinum in Australia. I remember this in 1998. After a couple of years, it had a resurgence. So in the year 2000, the song saw popularity in Ireland, where it peaked at number 4 on their charts. And this is something that just then went on and started happening, was every year the song grew in popularity. It kept having this resurgence, which, as a side note, I think is a very interesting thing. It's like the other day I watched a documentary, Wham, and I realised something that I never knew, that Last Christmas was never a number one hit. It never got Christmas number one, even though most people know all the lyrics to it and most people know the song. It was never actually a number one hit. It seems to me that every now and again you get a song that is a number one hit and it's huge and it's number one on the charts for like a bunch of weeks running, and then it drops off and no one ever hears about it again and no one ever remembers it, and the new generations don't know the song or don't care for the song. But every now and again you get this one song that's never a big hit when it's released. It's never huge, and yet everyone throughout different generations knows it because it comes back year after year. The same thing happens with movies. It's like Tenacious D, Pick a Destiny. I watched that the other week as well. And I remember when that came out, it was a box office flop. Critics hated it, no one went to see it. And yet it's like a cult classic now, right? The Room, cult classic. Same thing happens both with music and movies. Graduation was one of those songs where it had a decent run when it was released, but then year after year it came back, which is why I think so many people know it, and which is why I'm saying it's the ultimate one-hit wonder, because every year it comes back. Partly because it's such a well-written song. I mean, the lyrics are relatable to so many people. You scroll through the comments on the song and everyone's saying, oh, this is so sad. They played this at my graduation in 1999 and it was so sad. And now every time I hear it, I think about that day. Other people are like, they played it. I graduated in 2008 and they played it then. Now I'm so sad. Other people are like, I graduated in 2018 and they played it then and it was so sad. I think every school or anywhere where you can graduate from always has this song in their repertoire as like something to play. So we always have a memory to relate it to. Now, that gets us basically up to the beginning of the story, so you can take everything so far as an introduction. So thanks for sticking around through this long introduction, because it's what happened after that which I find to be really interesting. So obviously, having this huge hit, the record companies and music executives wanted more from her. And she kept writing and releasing songs, but none of them were hitting, none of them were bops, none of them were bangers. She had a few which were semi-successful, but nothing quite like Graduation. Yet people had faith in her. A good example of this is in the year 2000, Mattel actually produced a Vitamin C doll. Mattel, the people who themselves are making a big resurgence now after the release of Barbie, they made a Vitamin C doll. Tommy Hilfiger released a Vitamin C shade of lipstick. So she was hugely successful. A lot of people had a lot of faith, but she just could not, for the life of her, make another hit. So what she started doing, we started working a little bit behind the scenes, which is why she dropped off. It's like all of a sudden, one day, Vitamin C just disappeared and no one ever heard about her ever again. But here's the thing, she never disappeared. All she did was go into the back room. She went from being front and center to going behind the curtain. She was like the wizard in The Wizard of Oz, just pulling the strings. She was the puppeteer behind everyone. She never disappeared at all. She has always been there. Ever since the late 90s, she has been there making an impact. So she went behind the scenes and she started continuing to write songs and release music. A good example of this is Pokemon. If we've got any Pokemon fans out there, you may remember the first Pokemon movie, which was called Pikachu's Vacation. You may remember the opening song to it, that was massively popular. If you're a Pokemon fan, you'll know it well. That was Vitamin C. She wrote, recorded, and produced that for Pokemon. She just didn't make a video with her face in it. She was behind the scenes. Then she gets into producing, right? So in 2006, she created a production company and worked with various pop singers, but mainly like the people that would have a big impact. As she was aging, I think she's seen that a lot of the popularity and a lot of the audience was with younger up and coming stars, and she wanted to help them out, and she thought the best way to get her music heard was through them. So she used to work with companies such as Disney to create music for their films. A great example of this is Miley Cyrus. When Miley Cyrus started out as Hannah Montana, she wasn't writing the music. Guess who was? It was Vitamin C. She also worked with people like Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez. Remember the Princess Protection Program? I've spoke about it before in a video I did about Selena Gomez, but there was a song from that, a duet of both of them. It was called One and the Same. You've probably heard it. Here's 5 seconds of that song. Well, she wrote that. That was all Vitamin C behind the scenes, writing this music. Then on March 21st, 2012, she started work officially with Nickelodeon. She became, get this, the VP, the Vice President of Music for Nickelodeon. She oversaw all the music for Nickelodeon and its sister cable channels. This was till about 2019. So from about 2012 to 2019, every song that you heard on Nickelodeon, every made-for-TV movie or musical that Nickelodeon did, and remember, they did a lot. Vitamin C, the pop star that wrote Graduation that no one remembers, and those who do remember her just being huge in the early 2000s and then completely disappearing. She had a say in all of that. She was the vice president of music. She controlled it all. She wrote the music. She oversaw the entire production of it. And the story doesn't end there, because after 2019, she joined Netflix as an executive in charge of music, creative production, spectacular, and events. Whatever that means. She basically, in 2019, took over the music that goes through Netflix. So, from 2019 till now and ongoing, every Netflix original that features music or that is about music, Vitamin C either wrote or oversaw the production of. A great example of this is Julie and the Phantoms. If anyone watched that, I watched it, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Well, all the music that came out of that show was written and overseen by Vitamin C. Is that not crazy? I just find that whole thing crazy. And I said that there was something you could take from this story and some kind of motivation. And what I mean by that is, well, two things really. Just because someone isn't in the limelight anymore doesn't mean they're not doing well. All that Colleen wanted to do was music, and she did that. massively, and she's still doing it today. She's about 50 years old, and she's still in the music industry, still doing what she wants to do, which I find just incredibly inspiring. But the second thing, and the real motivation that I want you to take from this, is that she kept failing and just getting back up again. She kept falling down and just getting back up again. She started way early in her life on one of the biggest films of the time in the sense of musical theatre, and then it went all downhill after that. And she just came right back up. She said, no, 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 I'm gonna keep doing this. She came right back up with a rock band, once again got successful, and then that failed as well. And then she said, no, no, I'm gonna keep doing it. Became a pop star, wrote a song that even still today, 23 years since its release, and it is still played time and time again. New generations are popping out every which way, and they're still hearing the song, and they're still knowing and listening to the song. And yet, she disappeared, right? She failed, but she didn't. She just kept working behind the scenes. She just kept succeeding. It's an inspiring story, a true story of motivation. I was looking into this, and she did an interview. I can't remember who the interview was, but I did write down the quote which she said, where my talent limitations could hold me back as an artist, they didn't necessarily hold me back if I was writing for other people. I could imagine a world far greater than my own, far different than my own, that led me into artist development. It's no secret that in the music industry, we favour younger, new, fresh artists. There's an expiry day on artists, and we always judge music on what people look like. It's not just about how people sound, but it's what people look like. And as you get older, unfortunately, your looks slip away, unless you're someone like Anne Hathaway, who still looks as great today as she did 20 years ago. Am I right? Point being, there was restrictions with how far she could go. She wanted to create music. Being able to work behind the scenes has made it so she's had this long career. She's now 50 years old and still writing music that everyone can enjoy because she's doing it with other people, because she's got into this artist development thing. But do let me know what you think. It's been a while since I've done a Where Are They Now, and I thought this was a great one to get back into doing those kind of videos. Until the next video, goodbye.